Okay, so today we are chasing water inlet blockages, as was noted on the Guardian when we had some compressor overheat warnings come on. So today what we can do first of all is take off what I call the inspection plates. Some people call them the doors off the side of the Sportmaster. And as you can see, I label mine with the top and what side they came off, in this case the starboard, because they do take a contour to the shape of the case, so I think it's a good idea to put them on exactly the way they came off. Okay, so one of the simple things I use to chase clogs is just some weed whacker cord here. So I just insert it in one of our water inlet holes and just fish it up, and it'll get stuck part way up, but then you'll see it comes out, and you can see in this instance it's clean. It didn't push up any weeds, but typically if you have any debris or any weeds in there, it'll push it right up to the inspection area here. So I've already checked the other two inlets and they're all very clean now. So the next thing we're going to do is go up to the thermostat housings, and this motor actually has thermostats, and we'll check for some weed debris in the thermostat housings. Looking at the 200XS Opti, you can see we have some interference getting at the thermostat housings, but we'll maybe loosen up the fuel rail to get at those. Loosened up the fuel rail, and to take the thermostat housing bolts out, you need a 5/16 inch socket or wrench. Well, there you have it. We just pulled the thermostat out, and you can see that she is jammed full of weeds. So that's really not going to help us with any sort of cooling. So yeah, you can see that we just pulled the thermostat housing out, or the thermostat itself, and you can see that sucker, she is jammed with weeds. So we just cleaned up this thermostat. For anybody who cares, on the 200 Opti, it's a 143 degree Fahrenheit thermostat. But yeah, I use a pick tool, and I also use some compressed air to blow as much stuff and debris out of there as possible. Okay, so now on the port side, we have some interferences here. I don't think taking the fuel rail off is going to help us in any way. We just got to get probably more of a wrench in there more than anything. So we'll take this thermostat housing off and see how it looks. How the thermostat looks. Okay, so looking at the port side thermostat, you can see we do have a strand of weed in there. Typically this is what I find, that the starboard side is usually jammed and the port side is fairly clean. So we'll just as well clean this up and put it back in place. While we're in here, it's always a good idea to also check the outlet hose for the compressor coolant water. Most people might think this is actually your telltale for your power head thermostats, but it's not. The 200XS actually has its two dumps underneath the cowl pan here. You can see them. Those are those come from the thermostat housings. Just a note, you will need a Torx bit on the newer Sportmasters to remove the doors or the inspection plates on the Sportmaster side plates. This is a T20 is what you'll need. Another good idea is to, before you put the inspection plates back on, is check the underneath the plates for the little bit of corrosion. I see some corrosion happening here, and I also noticed that the O-ring had some corrosiveness on it as well. So inspect that. Clean that up, because you know any little buildup of anything's going to contribute to not having a good compression on this O-ring, and when you don't have good compression, you're going to get you know, a leak, because all it takes is a pinhole to make things leak, and you're going to lose pressure here. The maintenance. So you can just see that there is, you can't see it, but there is some corrosion on the O-rings here that we'll clean up before we put them back in. Okay, so we got our O-ring all cleaned up and back in place. Just a word of caution, these Torx heads, screws, these fasteners, they're really soft, so be careful not to over torque them when you put them back in. You're going to strip the heads out of them. Just a word of caution.